We're back out here once again, and today we're talking about what some call a knockoff lure that's quickly becoming one of my absolute favorite topwater presentations. But is it as good as the real deal? Stick around, we're going to talk all about it. Got him. Ooh, he was right there too. I threw it right on his head. Oh yeah, come on buddy. And here is this video's featured comment. Congratulations! If you would like to have a chance to have your comment featured in an upcoming video, all you've got to do is leave a comment. And now, on with the video. Welcome back to Lowbrow Fishing, and I, just like every other angler, have preferences when it comes to the baits and presentations I like to use when I'm out on the water. My confidence lures, the ones that I feel give me the greatest chance of success whenever I go fishing. And topwater is no exception. You guys have heard me talk about the Boy Howdy, the tail weighted, and the prop style. You guys know that I love those things and I have a huge fondness for them. But this guy right here, this is a head and spook, and these started it all. This is what I caught my very first topwater fish on, and it's got a special place in my memory. They're great baits. A walking bait, a head and spook specifically, is magic to a degree. It gets those tough bites on those windy days, on calm days. A walking bait like a spook just seems to work. And these things, these head and spooks, have been around probably longer than there has been a lowbrow. You remember the old Zara spooks, right? They had the different hook hangers on them, almost like a devil's horse or something like that, had the old cradle style hooks on them. This is a more modern one. This is the one knocker clear shad spook, and this thing has caught me some really nice fish. But is anything comparable to this? Is there something else we can buy that might be a little bit more budget friendly or in that same type of range that will do the job just as effectively? Now, you guys know I am not one to hawk brands. Whatever brand you like best is the one that you should use. That's just how it is, right? We know that I don't have a tackle box full of Mega Bass stuff, right? I don't have a Vision 110. I don't have any Mag Draft. And that's because they are priced out of my range. I'm not willing to pay that much for a bait. Now, that's not to say Mega Bass is a bad brand. I'm sure their products are great. I'm sure that they work. A lot of people use them. A lot of people seem to like them. But for the price, I'm not paying that much for a lure. I'm not paying $15 for a Mag Draft, and I'm not paying $25 for a Vision 110 or a 110 plus one. That's too much money for me. So I try to find cheaper alternatives that work well. Now, with the Zara spook and with the spook, it's something slightly different. I like these things, and they're not super expensive. They cost around $8 or $9 depending on where you get them. And I get most of mine off the shelf at Walmart. That's where I get most of my fishing tackle. But as you guys know, recently I kind of had a conundrum. The bone-colored spook that I had been fishing for a long time that had caught me so many fish. I don't know how many fish had caught me, but I broke it off. The line snapped and it was gone. It was caught on a piece of hydrilla, so it never floated up. I was never able to go and retrieve it. Figured no problem. They still sell a bone-colored spook, right? Well, in my area, I visited 3 tackle shops and Walmart, and I was not able to find a single bone-colored spook. And if you know me, you know I like a bone color. It's probably my favorite color of topwaters. For every type of bait, whether it's a popper, whether it's a Boy Howdy, whether it's a spook, I want to have a bone-colored version of that. I feel like that's the best one. I feel like that's the one that I have the most confidence in and the one that's going to put me on the greatest chance for success. So what happened? Well, I ended up getting this guy. Now, you already know this. I've already talked about this bait. This is a Yo-Zuri 3DB walking bait. It's not a spook, but it is similar. It does the same job. It works the same way in the same places. So, is it as good? Do I like this as much as I like a spook? And short answer, well, yes. Yes, I do. Bluebirds, guys. Middle of the afternoon, 30-mile-an-hour winds, lots of chop on the water. Seems like the perfect day for topwater. Let's go do it. All right, we've got the old Uzuri walking bait on, the old Uzuri walking bait. I see a fish splashing. You know I've got to throw to it, especially with topwater. Got him. That feels pretty good, kids. That feels really good. Don't you run at me. Oh, that's actually not a bad fish. Oh yeah, come on, buddy. Oh, the wife's gonna hate this. I got it on topwater. Come up here, you. Look at that nice fish. Oh yeah. And you know what that means? If there was one in there, then there's more in there. If I can get my rod out of the way. Come on. Okay. I would really like to get a look at this fish. There's another one. That's another one. He just kind of slurped it. This one's bigger. This is a bigger fish. Come here, you. No. Oh, yeah. We've been catching some nice fish today on topwater. Nice fish on topwater. Gorgeous. Ted Lincoln, eat your heart out, buddy. I'm telling you what. If you know, you know, right? I mean, isn't that what the saying goes? Isn't that what the kids are saying today? There are some very good pluses to this. It's right in that same price point. These cost about $8, about the same as much as a spook will, and they work the same way. They work great on the water. Now, if there is one negative to them that I'm really trying to work around is they don't come through as cleanly whenever there's some chop on the water. We've got a little bit of a cup here instead of that, you know, that normal round nose presentation that you would have on a normal head and type of spook. This has got a little bit of a cup on it, and that's great. Most of the time you get that little extra spit, you get a little bit of extra noise, and it may serve to attract some nice fish. But however, when there's some chop on the water, it can kind of get in the way and inhibit that nice side to side action, which above all is really what you're looking for out of a walking bait. So what's the moral of the story? Well, the moral of the story is you don't always have to pay for the brand, right? Use what works. There are some alternatives out there that work just fine. In this case, this Uzuri, right? You guys know I love those Uzuri jerkbaits, which run, again, about $8. They're nowhere near the price of something like a Berkeley Stunna or, again, a Mega Bass Vision or Vision 110, which can be $16 to $25. I would much rather pay less for something that's going to work as good, and if I break it off, or should I say when I break it off, I'm not going to feel bad about it. You know, the only time I ever really had a real jackhammer bait, and we know how much jackhammers cost. The only time I really had one, I lost it about a half hour in, and I thought to myself, never again. And other types of vibrating jigs work just as well. The regular Z-Man chatterbait works just great. I don't need a jackhammer. A Thunder Cricket, while pricey, is another alternative that I like. It's not quite as much as a jackhammer. It's still about $12 or $13 depending on where you get them, but they are a great alternative. So you don't always have to go out and get the name brand. This thing today, I'm telling you what, we had the worst, right? Air quotes. We had the worst weather that you could think of, the worst temperature, the worst time, the worst conditions that anyone could possibly think of for throwing topwater today. We had 20 to 25 mile an hour winds. We had bluebird skies, and it was the middle of the day. Those waves had so much chop that they were beginning to roll over, and they were creating foam, almost like you would see whitecaps. So, not a great day for topwater, right? Well, I took this out. I have fished a spook, that bone-colored spook, in those types of situations and had success many times. I wanted to see if this would do the exact same thing. And you know what? It did. Not only did I catch a lot of fish today, but I'm telling you what, I caught some nice ones as far as size and quality goes. Today was probably one of the best days I've had all year, if not the best so far in 2024. The average weight of the fish that I caught today were probably in that 1.5 to 2 pound area, and a few of them, well, they were north of 2 pounds, and on a day where you wouldn't think topwater would be the thing, and on a bait that may not be what you consider the original thing, right? It might be a copycat, it might be a clone, it might be a knockoff, but you know what? It worked. It's like I sometimes say, we all know these guys who are loyal to their brands, who are loyal to Chevy or Ford or Dodge or whatever. But do you think those executives sitting in that boardroom are saying, hey, you know what? Larry always drives a Chevy. I'm going to go to bat for Larry. No, they're not doing any such thing. They don't even know who you are. You know, we shell out all this extra money for our preferred brands, don't we? And we are diehard believers in that brand. We're not going anywhere. But those executives and those brand names, they don't know who we are. They don't know me by name, and they could care less. So why should I shell out extra money for people who don't even know I exist, right? If they came to my house and said, hey man, Lowbrow, we love you. We want your channel. We're going to go to bat for you. We think that you have a great brand, that you have a good thing going. That might be a little bit different, but I don't actually see that happening, which is something that I try to emulate on this channel. I'm not one for hawking a particular brand, although, you know, someday I might get a sponsor and that change, but it would have to be the right circumstance. It would have to be the right deal at the right time, right? I don't want somebody just throwing money at me. But, you know, if I'm going to be honest, I might take a sponsorship from somebody if it was a brand I believed in and agreed with. But, you know, what I'm talking about with these, they are perfectly adequate. They do a great job out there on the water. So it doesn't matter. What matters is the lure that you buy good enough for the job that you want to do? And in this case, this thing most certainly is. So don't get so hung up in buying a particular name brand. Buy what works for you. And if you can save a few bucks in the process, well, that's all the better. So it's something that we really need to think about whenever we head out to the lake, because I don't know about you, but my money is at a premium right now, and I can't afford all the nice stuff that I would really like to have. I fish out of a little plastic boat, and hopefully my Minn Kota switch will be here, so the next time you guys see me on the water, I will actually have a full functioning handle, switch, and the whole 9 yards. But that just goes to show you, you know, I'm not made of money. I am not independently wealthy. So where I spend my money matters. And if I can find something that does the job for cheaper, I will definitely give that a try. I will definitely give it an interest. So think about that next time you're at the tackle shop. So there you have it. Does a knockoff copycat bait work as well as the original? Well, in the case of the Yozuri, I certainly think so. I really like that bait. And I feel like not sticking to one brand, not owing loyalty to just one brand in particular, has really helped me catch more fish, as I feel like being a brand name slave holds us back a lot of times, because there's a lot of really great baits out there by a lot of really good companies, some big, some small. Go out there and try them all. You might be surprised that a lot of the baits from companies you think you didn't like turn out to be pretty good. Thanks for watching Lowbrow Fishing. We'll catch you in the next one.